church. Had to go. So the first night there, I get put in a room with this girl, and I wake up at midnight, and she's got the pillow over my head trying to kill me.
Oh my god.
Holy fuck.
Okay, because mind you, this is a mental hospital. This is not specialized in eating disorders. This is for suicidal teens and drug addicts. So that was the first night. So they moved me out of her room the next day. This is gonna be a shit show.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
this is gonna be bad.
You're like, should
not
we
in a bad
really
way,
air
though.
this? I don't know. Redo. Oh gosh.
That was already recording, by the way. But
That's
anyway,
good.
welcome to the
Oh.
Matt and Monica podcast.
Episode 12.
Yeah, with Monica's friend
Special
Alessandra.
guest. Thanks, babe. Yeah. Welcome. Thank you for joining us, and I'm really excited to have you on.
Well, I'm glad to be on here.
So I just want to start off talking about how we even know each other. So
Well, it's over 30 years.
back in school.
Yep. I came to Hamilton in 4th grade. You were in a different class than me. I was in with like Amanda and Danielle at the time.
Yep. Well, because me and Danielle didn't get close until like high school.
Yeah. So I was close to both of you separately
Right.
when we were in 4th grade. So like I was friends with Danielle and Amanda. And if you ever ask Danielle, we got in trouble a lot and ended up in the principal's office. Oh,
No.
yeah. There was a episode in the locker room where I may have hit her with a brush.
Why do I not even remember this? I probably was like this little.
Well, because we had the 3 classes.
Yeah.
And so like our class would go to gym.
Yeah.
And then your class would go to gym.
Mm-hmm.
So me, Amanda, and Danielle would get in fights.
You guys are like the
constantly.
naughty ones. I was like the teacher's pet.
Yeah, you were the
like,
angel up
yeah.
until a certain point.
What the hell happened?
That's another episode. Anyway. Go on.
But yeah, so we met then.
Yeah.
And I remember we went to, like, our whole big class went to, what was it, Cooperstown. I was dating Danny. And we went to Cooperstown, and that's when me and you first, like, started talking, was at the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And then we went into, like, 5th, 6th, and 7th, and we really, I think it was, what was it, like 5th or 6th grade where we became close. And we had, there was a large group of us, I feel, from, like, 4th grade to, like, senior year.
Yeah.
That, like, we would go from, like, pod to pod. Like,
Yes.
who's close at this time?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like, me and you were really close,
Yep.
and then you and Danielle were really close,
Yeah.
and then me and Christine, like, we just went from, like, pod to
Yeah,
pod.
and then like me and Christina were close for a while, and she actually lived like next to me for a short period of time, which was awesome. I was like, dude,
Danielle.
Yawn, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yep. And so we had these pods that we were a huge group that just went from, like, we just all kind of, like,
Intertwined. And just, we were all friends, but close at different times.
yes.
Yeah, which was really cool that we could do that. All be friends.
But my favorite memories of us are at your house eating biscuits with cream cheese.
A lot of cream cheese.
Oh, and
it wasn't a little.
Cheerleading was my favorite.
So who was I talking to? I was talking to someone, and I was like, yeah, she was like cheerleading with me.
Yeah.
And I always remember the time when it was during a game, and I went to get on you, and I was like, it probably should have been the opposite, because you were like so much smaller than me.
No, but I don't think was I at the time, because when I was anorexic and I was sick, I became the flyer.
Okay.
So I was bigger than you because I was big. And you would get up on my shoulder all the time.
Maybe that was the time though. But like I didn't make it, and I was like, I gotta do it again. So I had to like redo it. I was so embarrassed. But we got it. We did it.
We actually got it.
Yeah,
but
those
do
good
you
times.
remember that we used poor Hannah as like, because we were trying to learn how to do backflips.
Oh my
And
gosh.
freaking Hannah was a pretzel. She could like fold herself into every single position. And
Yeah.
so me and Monica are trying to do these back bends because that's how they were teaching us. You do the back bend first. So you're
Yep.
like standing, you have to
It was
bend
like a back
over.
walkover or something. Is that what it's
Yes.
called?
And then you like put, and so here's Hannah's like, oh, I'll show you. And she would just like,
Do it.
bitch.
Like, okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
she would show us, and then we were like, okay, well, then
We
let's
got
do
this.
this.
Yeah.
And then, like, so we started to like make her do like all these things, and she could just fold herself into any position, and we're just like, okay,
Whatever.
well.
Yeah. That was so much fun though. I have a lot of good memories cheerleading.
Yes.
And practice was like always a good time. And it was kind of hard though because we had like 3 separate different coaches like at different times, didn't we?
Well, we had Miss Bodmer for
Yes.
most of it.
And then we had Boyer.
Yep.
And then was there one more?
I can't remember.
I feel like there was maybe not though. Yeah. But I remember at a game we were all cheering and I went up in a stunt and I fell. Do you remember? And I fell right on my back. Oh my god, I think it messed up my back. Like made it like I don't know, something happened to it. But I like couldn't breathe and I was so embarrassed because we were practicing.
You left cheerleading
Yeah.
because the next year when I was anorexic and I had my heart attack and I came back and I got to cheer in the championship, you came with us.
Yes, on the bus
But
with you guys. I didn't cheer.
You didn't cheer.
Right. Yes.
But you were there in the pool. Remember they were like throwing me up and I remember I had this cute little orange bikini and like they were
I think I
throwing
remember
me
the pool, but I don't remember that. But I remember hanging out with boys, with Danielle and her sister.
Yes, you guys, yeah.
And their coach actually came in to check on them, so we ran in the bathroom, and one of the kids was like, "Yo, B, I'm taking a shit," and he's like, "Not with them 3 girls in there, you ain't," or something like that, because we weren't supposed to be in there.
Do you know what I'll know? So I've got a great Monica story now.
Oh no.
Oh
So-
boy.
Oh gosh.
I was goody two shoes in high school. Like I really was. And so
Well, you were like the smart one, and like you were like athletic, and you're pretty. Yes, you played soccer. Didn't you do soccer
I
too?
did. I was
See?
a big fat goalie. I was Monica.
You were
from
not.
Friends. And I still to this day am Monica from Friends. No, but so we're cheerleaders, right? It's our junior year, and the team is like amazing. Coach
Yeah.
was phenomenal. Like our
Yeah.
team was amazing, and we all went to the Almeida, and I was like goody two shoes. Like went back to my house afterwards and everything. Well, they went to all the rest of the cheerleaders went to a party at your house, at your dad's house, and got caught drinking and things, and so the cheerleading team
Got in trouble.
got in trouble except for me. I was the only cheerleader left, and we go to the States and we go to the finals. The finals. We're in Glens Falls, gonna win the championship. And I'm the only cheerleader, and they're like, well, you're the only cheerleader, so you don't get to go. So there's no cheerleading. And we won the frickin' States.
What?
It's funny you say that because I haven't thought about that memory until you were saying that.
Oh, I've held a grudge.
You're like, I'm really here to like expose you, Monica.
That's really why I came. No. No, but then the next year we get to go back. Monica comes and like we'll go back to my whole story, but it was like I fought so hard to get out of the mental hospital, out of like being sick. I fought to get back to school so I could go back to Glens Falls because I wanted to cheer the boys on to win.
Yeah.
And they did win because Colin was fouled in that last frickin' second, and they didn't call the foul, and we lost by 1 point. Oh, I hope.
You're like, I'm so angry.
It's a stupid
Oh my
thing.
gosh,
See, that's what I
yeah.
say. I don't remember what I did yesterday, but I remember
the weird memories from like years ago.
crap. Yeah.
Like the weird shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when was the beginning when you felt like, something was wrong with yourself? Like you just felt bad.
So, I will say I had the most amazing childhood up until I was 11. So, like, my parents were amazing. Like, we were a poor family. Like, but they gave us everything. My grandparents were, on my mom's side, were wealthy, and so they took us to these places. But my dad was from Italy, like off the boat from Italy. I'm half Italian. Like, he's off the boat, and so we would go back because he had businesses. So I got to go see my brothers. I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters there that I absolutely love, and so we got to go be there all the time. And well, not all the time, but whenever we could, and they would come visit us. So I had a great childhood, like up until 11. My dad had a work partner who grew up with my mom's side of the family, and they owned their own business. It was A&G Masonry, or A&R Masonry. And he was like my uncle. Like, he was always there. We had our main house, and then we had the bunkhouse, and he lived in the bunkhouse, and like, we were very close. He ended up buying a farm up the road from us, and he was like an uncle. Like, he was always there. And when I was 11, I started working when I was 11, so I was babysitting people after school. I would work for him. He had horses, so I would go help out with the horses, and he did taxidermy, and I helped out with taxidermy and things, and so I would go help him. And he started to become really inappropriate. And I, at 11, didn't really understand what was going on. Like, it didn't really, like, dawn on me, like, the touching, the things like that, like
saying stuff to you that was
inappropriate.
And stuff, yeah.
And I didn't, like, at 11, like, you have no fucking clue what's going on. Like, you just, like, yeah, whatever. Like, and I think my son's 11 right now. He's about to be 12 in 2 weeks from yesterday. Like, like, he wouldn't know if somebody was saying these things.
Kind of laugh it off, like, no biggie.
Yeah. Like, I had no clue.
It's an adult, so you respect them, and you think, like, okay, this must be appropriate to say.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it progressively got worse. And it wasn't until, so from 11 to like 12 and a half, closing in on 13. So it was before my 13th birthday when he started touching in weird ways. And then, like, I would go over there and work, and my parents, like, I'd go over there for hours on Saturday and Sunday to do taxidermy, to help him with the farm and do all this stuff. We were so close to his family. His nieces and nephews were my best friends and my brother's best friends. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say they were family. Like, they were, like, part of our family. We loved them. And so I always was there, but it was like, I would say it was like around Thanksgiving. Well, it was even before that. So, like, when I started school, because I remember I was working for him the summer before because I was going to Oswegatchie, and I was going to a Bible camp at the time, and I wanted to buy this Bible camp, like, windbreaker, like, sweater. And so I was working more for him, and he was being inappropriate and touching and doing things, and he'd, like, corner me on the couch, and he would kiss me, and it was, like, really inappropriate. And I'm like, this isn't right.
He's drunk or anything like that?
No.
Really?
No.
Not that I just...
No, and he was just really inappropriate. And so I remember it was around Thanksgiving where I started to say to my dad, I don't want to go there anymore. But they were like, no, you need to make this money, because I was buying my own school clothes. Like, we were a very poor family, like, so whatever I could make money.
But they didn't know what was going on.
No, they had no clue, because he would tell me, you can't say anything we do here because it would ruin your dad's life. And my dad was my life. Like, my mom went to school when I was 5. My dad raised me. Yeah. My dad was my entire life. Like, and he was saying it would ruin him. Because my dad was an immigrant from Italy to this country, barely spoke the language, had a heavy accent. He wouldn't be able to, like, find another job. And so here I am, 12 years old, thinking my dad's fate rested in my hands. So I couldn't say anything. Like, I couldn't do anything. And so finally it was Thanksgiving, and I'm like, it's not comfortable. Like, I'm not comfortable with what is going on. And I'm like, I don't want to go anymore. Well, they still were like, you need to go make money. Because I was also babysitting near Christina. And I hope Jackie never sees this, because I would go babysit these kids like for the entire weekend, and I would call Christina, but it was a 607 number, and she's a 607 number, but
Yeah.
apparently because it was like across county borders at that time, it cost a ton of money. So thank you, Erica, and thank you, Jessica, because when Jackie called them, they're like, no, we don't know who this person is.
Oh,
I bring
my
up a
gosh.
huge bowl of milk for them. Hopefully
Oh my
Jackie
gosh.
never sees this because I need to say her. But so I mean, I was working so much at 11 and 12. Like I worked a lot.
That's so
And
young.
So I didn't I was gonna lose money, but I was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And so eventually it was like January, where my dad's like, okay, you don't have to go, and I'm like, okay. But then like Rosario kept asking, and he was my dad's partner, so he was at our house a lot, and I started acting weird, and my dad's like, what is going on? So my grandmother planned my 13th birthday, was taking me and my cousin Julia to New York City. We were going to do all this fun stuff, and I had to go to Rosario's one last time, and he like pinned me down. He like was kissing me, he was doing all these things and touching me, and I just like pushed him off. I'm like, I need to go home now. Mind you, from where he lived to where I lived, it was like 4.5 miles, we'll say. And so I was like, I'm walking home. Like, I am leaving right now. And thank God, don't even remember who it was, but a neighbor picked me up. And
How old is he? Was he at the time?
so my dad, they were 10 years apart. My dad, I don't even know how old he was. So in his 50s?
Jeez,
Well, let's see. If I was 11, my dad would have been in his. So maybe he was like in his like late 40s.
wow.
Like I can't do the math right now, but he was an older guy, and so thank God one of my neighbors picked me up and brought me home, and I was just like, I'm not going anymore.
Yeah.
So it was just before my birthday. My dad's like, what is going on? He's like, you
Like, he
need
knew
to go to
something was
Rosario's.
happening.
You need to do this. Like, what is going on? And I was like, okay, I'm about to ruin my dad's life. And so I told my dad. And my father didn't have the comprehension because he never wanted us to learn Italian because he wanted us to speak English, but he also loved that him and my mom could speak Italian and we wouldn't understand what he was saying. So I think there was a little bit of comprehension. So he told my brother. And you're going to hear a lot about my brother and my father and how they're pivotal in my life. And so he told my brother, and my brother's like, we have to call Aunt Dana, and you're going to hear Aunt Dana a lot. So this had happened just before we went on this trip, my 13th birthday with my cousin Julia, my mom, and my grandmother. And we went and we did this whole New York City trip, and I had no clue that my dad had told my brother at this point, and they called Aunt Dana. And my brother and my dad drove down to Connecticut to meet us all because they had to tell my mom. So they drove down there, and we got back from New York City. New York City was a whole different thing because I got like food poisoning and stuff. But it was my first time in New York City, and I was like, okay, this is great. And that was when Titanic was a big thing, and I loved Leonardo DiCaprio because I was supposed to
remember
marry
you
him.
being I was supposed to marry him.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I remember in your room you had like the
Yes,
posters and
the
shit.
posters,
Yes.
It never came. Like
You had the like coolest room, by the way. I was like always obsessed.
I had to marry Adam, like because
He'll do, I guess.
yeah, but I'd much rather Adam than DiCaprio. But so we get back, and my dad and my brother were there. I'm like, oh, this is awesome! Like, great. My dad and my brother are there, and they had like pulled my mom aside, and I was still playing with my cousins because I would spend the summers at my grandmother's house with my cousins. Like they were like my sisters, like, and they still are to this day. Like my cousin Emily and Julia are like my best friends, and so they pulled them aside, and I had no clue what was going on. And my mom's like, well, we're going to drive home. And Ricardo and my dad were going to drive home. So we're driving home. I remember we're driving through Hamilton, and she goes, I want you to tell me what happened with Rosario. And I'm like,
Whoa.
what?
Like you were not ready for that.
No, I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, and then we're going to talk about safe sex. And I'm like,
Whoa, again? What? Yeah.
Listen, because we were 13, so we were what, in 7th grade? I'm like, listen, I had that banana talk. Remember the banana talk in 5th grade?
No.
Like,
I don't.
well, glad you
No.
don't remember. But we had that stupid talk. I was in, I can't remember, Miss Will, like, with the banana and stuff.
Mrs. Will.
So we, or no, it was not Miss Will, it was Miss Clark, I think. But we were like she was just like, I need you to tell me what's going on.
Mhm.
And so I had to tell my mom. And I didn't want to tell my mom because my mom, like I said, my mom went to school, back to college. I was an oops. Shouldn't want me. I was
We all
an
are.
oops.
We all are.
No, I was like the big oops. Like I'm 10 years younger than my sister and 7 years younger than my brother. I'm 23 years younger than my oldest brother.
Wow.
So I was like the big oops. She was ready to go back to school. My Aunt Holly was like, no, you're going to have her. My dad and my sister and brother were so excited. And my mom was like, and she was like ready to have a career. She was ready to do all these things.
Oh, okay.
And here I come. And so when I was 5, she went back to school. My dad and my brother and my sister raised me.
Mhm.
Then my Aunt Dino and Uncle Jeff and Uncle Ricky, like all my uncles were, like, and aunts were always there. And so, like, we weren't close, me and my mom. And so she had this conversation. And I remember we got home. And what I didn't know was my parents were getting ready to split up. And so they called my next door neighbors over and they were talking, and I had to go over to my sister's. Now, my brother already knows about this. And so then I had to tell my older sister. And
How old's your brother that you're referring to?
7 years older than me.
Okay, yeah.
And so he had already known, and he was so upset about it because Rosario was their uncle. There was, like, we were
Yeah.
so close. Like,
That's
I
so
am
sad.
not kidding when I
Yeah.
say, like, we were so close to him.
Oof.
He was family. And so, like, we were in the bunkhouse with my sister and the guy she was with at the time, and my nephew, who at the time, so if I was 13, he was 3, we were there, and my parents were with Ann and Ronnie. Rosario comes by because he had been in Connecticut. And he goes
doesn't
by
know
and
right now that
he has
anybody.
no clue
Right.
anybody.
Okay.
So this whole, like, they're talking and everything. So my parents then came and got me. And I had to go down to the police station. And it was my next door neighbor, who's a state trooper. Like, now he's my next neighbor, and my other neighbor. They were both state troopers, and I had to tell these 2 guys what happened.
Mm.
And it was incredibly intimidating because they're like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure? And I want you to know this whole time, like, when all of this is going down, I was portrayed as a liar a lot of the time.
That infuriates me.
So I told them my story.
The little girl.
Yeah.
Yep. And so then from there, like, I had told him my story, they had to contact him.
Mhm.
So he found out that it's out.
Yeah.
And mind you, he's 4.5 miles up the road.
Yeah.
Like, he's not far from us. And he's my dad's work partner, and they have projects. They were masons.
Mhm.
And they were on projects. And so, like, life was, like, falling in on us. My parents were thinking about getting divorced already. It was, like, this whole big mess. And so then everything started to happen. So I had to they brought me to therapy. So I started seeing this woman named Jan, which ironically, when my dad was dying, 2 weeks before my dad died, I had just gotten this brand new car, and I was at the gas station, and Jan's husband backed up and smashed into my brand new car.
Oh.
That's the second accident that I've had in this brand new car, by the way.
Like,
Neither are my
rid
fault.
of the car.
Yeah, that car got rid of quickly.
Mhm.
But she, like, so I had to go see her, and then I had to go see multiple lawyers.
Mhm.
And I went through, I mean, when I say those lawyers, like, they're, like, tore me down. Like, they were like, this is what you're going to see in court. This is what you're going to see in court. And they would just ask me question over question over question. And it was, like, so killing. So you and me were already friends. Like, Bridget, me, Christina, like, Sarah, like, all of us were already friends. And I had grown up with, like, from the womb, best friends. So I had Sarah, Ashley, and Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And from the womb, like Ashley and Ben were older. They were there the day I was born. Sarah was older. She was born March 5th. I was March 23rd. Like from the womb, grew up together, lived right next to each other, always knew each other.
Mm-hmm.
The whole town knew what was going on, and they were all saying I was lying.
I don't understand that.
It was the fact that I moved back to my town that like turned against me is amazing. But they disowned me. No, like I'll never forget. So when it came to going to court, I was allowed to bring one friend because I would only be in court to tell my story. They were very protective. I would only, and then I would be in another
Separate room.
Yeah. Because I would go tell my story. I didn't have to be there for the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom was like, okay, invite a friend. Nobody's parents wanted their kid. But this one Danielle that we went to school with, not our close friend, but this other Danielle, she came with me. So I went through all this grueling stuff, and she came with me. So the night before court, we're rollerblading in the basement. We're having so much fun. We're laughing. And my dad came down and he was crying. And I'm like, what happened? Like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the tension in my house already was horrible because, again, like I said,
had so much going on.
My parents were thinking about divorcing and all this stuff. And he came down and Rosario had shot himself in the head.
Holy shit.
The night before court.
Oh my gosh, that's
But
insane.
still, I'm guilty. I'm lying. He did not die. He became a paraplegic, complete vegetable. But he shot himself, so I never got my day in court. Never got to face him, and I was looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was completely prepared. So
13.
we left 2 days later to go to Italy. We came back, and it was like towards the end of the year, and we were at the park, and Sarah, the one I grew up with, like from birth, said, well, it's your fault because you have big boobs.
Who says that?
Then Ben, who I had known my entire life, said, okay, you can stop lying now.
Wow.
And from there,
do you think that's how they actually felt, or do you feel like people are feeding information to them, saying, like, brainwashing them to think that?
I don't know. But for them to have known me since birth, to assume that I would lie about something, like my story is not waived. Like I can tell my story over and over. It has not waived. It happened to me. I know. Like I'm not lying. Like I was sexually abused from 11 to 13 by my family's best friend. I have not lied about it, but they said it. And then things started happening in school. Like because I had put on a lot of weight. It was a lot of stress. And I was heavy set. Remember we did Night of the Notables in 8th grade? I was Jenny Jones.
I remember that.
And I had my Italian suit on and I was huge. And all of a sudden, like, guys would be like, oh, well, we like you because you have big boobs. And it was always, like, about my boobs. So, like, I hated them. And then people started calling me fat. And, like, that's when I already had felt so out of control in my own body. Like, I had control of nothing.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely nothing. My parents had talked about getting divorced. You know, my sister was going through a lot. My sister, and, like, was going through stuff. My brother was going, like, there was just so much stuff out of my control that the one thing that I could control was eating. So I have horrible IBS and all this stress. Like, I wasn't going to the bathroom, so the doctor prescribed laxatives. Well, I learned if I took a lot of them, my weight started going down. So I started stealing and buying laxatives whenever I could to clear my system, because I could eat something and then it would go right out and I could lose weight. So then that they caught on. Something was going
So
on.
how long was that period of time when you were doing that?
So that was right after the whole, like, when everybody found out about Rosario.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started exercising a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, I'd eat and I'd go ride my bike on my road, and my parents noticed that. So then I just slowly stopped eating.
So if you had like family dinners, did you have family dinners?
We did. We always had family
So did you
dinners.
eat dinner and then?
I would.
Okay.
I would eat dinner. I have no gag reflex, so I could never make myself throw up, although they always would like watch me thinking I was gonna like that. We'll get into that later. But I have no gag reflex, so I couldn't like make myself throw up. But there was one time at school that I took Dawn dish detergent
Mm-hmm.
or Dawn like soap like that you wash the dishes with, and I put it in water to try to make myself throw up because I actually ate lunch. And I didn't throw up.
So you just felt like
I
shit.
just had a horrible stomach.
Oh.
So don't try that. It doesn't work.
Please don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. That's what a Tide Pod.
Ew.
Please, I just gave him a new reason.
So like, what made you think to do that? Did you see someone else do that at some point?
yeah,
or you just
like
thought,
you can that can help you throw up.
I
So
never. Okay, interesting.
I don't even know where I learned it, but so then I just started to stop eating as much. But then people started saying, "Oh, you've lost weight,"
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden, like, because I was being called fat, I was being told my boobs are big, and like guys were paying attention to my boobs, and like there was like a uncomfortable like notice of things, and then all of a sudden like, oh, you're starting to lose weight. Oh, you're starting to lose weight. So then we were 15, done with school, right? Like we're out for the summer, and that's when I started isolating, and I only had one friend, and it was a different Sarah. It was Sarah, and we hung out all the time, and I stayed home and I babysat my nephew and I worked.
Mm-hmm.
I had multiple jobs, and I just isolated myself, and my eating, like, I don't think my parents noticed at all, but I just stopped eating, and I went from 100 and like 45, 50 to 100 pounds from like May, when we were 15, to when we were going into that. So I had turned 16. No, I had just turned. So I was 16. It was after. No. So I had started to lose weight. Then my 16th birthday, I remember Jen and Amy were at my house, and it was the first time I ever drank. And so my parents like had gone somewhere, and we were by ourselves, and I was like, I'm gonna be a bartender. Are you ready for this lovely concoction that I made?
I don't even want to know.
Labatt Blue, White Zinfandel, and Creme de la Menthe.
I don't even know what the last
Let's
one
just say
is.
my parents had just bought brand new towels.
Oh no.
And so I had this drink, and they're like, yeah, we'll just take a Labatt Blue. So they drink Labatt Blue, and I drink this drink. I threw up everywhere. And we cleaned it up with my mom's brand new towels, put it in a garbage bag, and hid it in our attic. And my brother found it like 5 years ago when he cleaned out the attic.
Oh.
He bought that.
Alessandra. Why didn't you just wash them?
Like 30-year-old vomit?
16 years old. Like,
20-year-old vomit? Like that's.
I'm 16 years old. You think I'm going to think, oh, I should
Did he
take
open the
these-
bag?
No, I think he just.
Oh,
How did he know what it was? He had to open the bag.
Yeah.
He was probably like, he probably
20-year-old. I mean, it probably doesn't smell anymore. It's probably
hard like a rock.
I don't know.
It's
I
so
wasn't there.
sick.
But like, so at that point, like I had been restricting a lot and losing weight, and like, because my parents were like putting a restriction on my exercise, like.
And they're
because I
watching
would-
you.
Yeah, they were watching me, but then I could exercise again because they're like, okay, she's fine. So I started exercising again. So it was the summer that we were 16. So it was just before our junior year. I completely isolated except for Sarah. And I was babysitting my nephew and working different jobs, and just I wasn't eating, and I dropped significant weight. I remember I came back to school, it was September, and everybody's like, oh my God, you look so amazing. Like, you've lost so much weight. Like, oh my
Little did
God.
they know you were like so unhealthy.
They had no clue. And so
yeah.
I got into Colgate classes, and I was doing Italian courses. And so I'd walk there every day. I was eating 500 calories at most at that time. Like, probably then I was probably closer to like 600, 700. And I was walking every day to the class, and I would drink probably like 8 to 10 cups of coffee a day and chewing bubble gum consistently. And I would just be going back and forth class. And my parents were starting, like, they were like, okay, something is going on. Like, they knew something was going on. Like, they just, there was something, but they don't think they knew how to deal with it. And remember, my mom is like working so hard, and like my dad's like trying to raise it. Just the whole situation was so hard on them, and they had no clue. And my mom's like trying, but I'm a teenager, and I'm like, I hate you, Mom. Like, I don't want to talk to you. Well, my sister moved away. Now, my sister's 10 years older than me. She raised me. She was like my mom. We were so close, and she moved to Syracuse, and I hated my sister for moving away. And then my brother
Like she just left you?
moved in with her because he was working up in Syracuse. And so it was just me and my parents.
You're how old?
I was 16.
It's still 16. Okay. Wow.
I was 16, and I was so upset at my brother. Not my brother. I was never upset with my brother, because my brother could do no wrong. Like, he was, and you'll hear, like, he was amazing. But my sister, how dare she leave me? And like, they knew at her wedding, 'cause she got married that summer. They knew at her wedding something was wrong. Like, you can look back at those pictures, and I was definitely like, there was something wrong. And like, my Aunt Dana was so amazing, because she knew something was wrong, but she would never like say, you need to eat, you need to do, like, her and Uncle Jeff were just like, we love you, like, what do you need? Like, they wouldn't talk about that I'd lost weight. They wouldn't. They were just,
they want
there.
you to know that they love you and care for you.
And
if
that's
you
how
need
my dad
anything,
and
they're
brother
they're right there.
What did you say her first name was again?
Dana.
Dana. That's funny. Yeah, I have an aunt Donna that's very similar. She's just, just want to throw
Amazing
that in there.
person.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
Just somebody who like knows you're going through something, but isn't going to point it out. Is just going to tell you, by the way, I'm there.
Yes.
Just loves you.
Yeah.
Unconditionally.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was on Dana. She was my second mom. She was always there. Like, when I'd stay at the summers at my grandmother's house, like when
Did she
I
live
got
close
too much.
to you?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
she lived in Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
Next to my grandmother. And so when it would get too much at my grandmother's house, I could just call Uncle Jeff and Aunt Dana, and they would come and get me, and I could go spend the night there. Like, they were like my second parents. They were always there. And so my sister had moved away. Things were getting worse and worse. Like, I was like a ghost in the hallways. Like, I just wasn't.
What was going on with your parents at the time? So
they never got to. They had separated
Okay.
at one point, and we moved to Hamilton. Me and my mom, and I hated it, and I moved back with my dad, and then they got back together. So they were completely like, it was just like a little blip in their story, because they had the most amazing love story. There was just a little blip in the love story. And so they were fine, but my God, I don't know how they dealt with me, and like how they didn't get divorced with everything, because I wouldn't talk to my mom. Like, I was just like, because she's a nurse. So she's like looking at it from a nurse perspective, and like, you're not healthy.
Right.
Like, when I tell you, so I would eat barely anything. Like, there were days I would have baby carrots with salsa. This is disgusting. But the mixture I'd have was salsa, yellow mustard, which has no calories, and I can't believe it, not butter spray. And I would mix it, and I would just eat some baby carrots, and that's all I would eat for the day. So there were days that I would get maybe 100 to 200 calories in. And I was still walking to Colgate back and forth for
You
my
were
classes.
intentionally trying to do this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Just.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I
Because
didn't
you
know.
felt
Because I was fat.
Yeah.
Well, it's the only thing.
Ask
thing
my
you can
mom, I had
control.
xylophone in my back. Like, my bones were sticking out, but I was fat. And when I looked in the mirror, I saw that fat girl that did Jenny Jones in that suit. Like, that's what I saw. I couldn't see the sick girl that I was.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And I
Oh.
just kept eating, or kept not eating, and it just progressively got worse. And my mom was trying, so they would bring me to the doctors, and then all of a sudden the nurse at the school started to get involved, and the athletic director, and they're like, well, you can't be in cheerleading if you're not eating, and you have to do weekly weigh-ins and stuff like that. And so I'll go to these because I wanted to be in cheerleading. That was the one thing that brought me joy, because my mom always forced me to play sport. And she's like, well, you have to pick a sport. So I picked cheerleading to piss her off. And I ended up loving it.
It's like our kids, same thing.
That's
And
so
you made them do something, they pick track.
Yeah.
And Mel loves it.
They love it.
Yeah.
I ended up loving it.
Yeah.
I did track, I did softball, I did basketball, I was a big
Yeah.
fat goalie. I was like I did all those sports, but I loved cheerleading.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden cheerleading was getting taken away, and I'm like, no, I love it.
Yeah.
Like, and I got to be the flyer, because I was always a fat one who threw everybody up and had to have everybody on my shoulder, and I got to be the one to fly. And I felt amazing when I got to do
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff.
I can see that.
So, like, here I was getting to do what I had always wanted to, because I had been in a fat body, and now I was...
You got the spotlight on you flying, and you went
Yes.
the complete opposite.
Yes.
Wow.
And it just, like, we went to the Almeida. I remember going to the Almeida.
What's that?
It's a
It
winter
was
formal.
A winter formal
Okay.
that the girls asked the guys, and I was dating a guy at the time, and we went to the winter formal, and Sarah was amazing, because, like, everybody asked, like, what helped you get through, and I said,
Oh.
my brother and my father and Sarah, because Sarah was a friend who never said you need to eat. She was the friend who never, like, she could call me on my bullshit, but she didn't have to. She was just there and like, oh, do you want something to eat? And I'm like, no. And she's like, okay, when you want something, I'll give you food if you want food. And she was just there to listen, and she was never pressuring me and things like that. And so she was amazing. So we went to the winter formal, and I remember, like, or to the Almeida, and I remember we had like this amazing night, and somebody made a really rude comment about, oh my God, does she realize how disgusting she looks?
Talking about you?
Yes, because you could see every vertebrae. Like, I was a skeleton. I went from 150 to 90 pounds. Like, I was a skeleton, and they made that comment. I didn't hear it, but Sarah did, and she's like, don't talk about her like that. You have no clue what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, it was something like that, and at the time, it felt powerful to me. Like, when she told me the story, I'm like, this is powerful. I'm like, I'm a skeleton. Like, I have my life in my own hands. Like,
You're in control.
I'm in control.
Yeah.
And that was what it was always about, because I had no control over what happened to me when I was 11 to 13. And I didn't have any control of everything going around me, all the bad shit. But I could control what I was eating. And that was the first time I think it dawned on me how much control I felt, because I can control what I ate. And it progressively got worse to where there were days I wouldn't eat anything. Like, I was chewing what's that? It's a blue, not juicy fruit or double, it's a winter fresh or something.
Winter fresh.
Yeah.
Best kind.
And I would chew that all day, and that was what I was having. And
Like, at the time, you're like chewing it just because you needed something, like that feeling of eating, but you're not eating? Is that why you were chewing it, or for whatever calories you get from it, or
there's
I mean,
no calories.
yeah, I don't
It was
know.
to chew something, because
Okay.
I was starving.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was eating because I was chewing. And then it was January, so we had Christmas. Me and my brother took me to a Giants. This is when I became a huge Giants fan. My brother brought me to a Giants Jaguars game. And it was, Collins was the quarterback. Seahorn was there. Like, he brought me with his girlfriend at the time, Kelly. And we went to this Giants game. And he did buy me a pretzel out of a shopping cart. This guy was going around the parking lot with pretzels in a shopping cart. And I
Yummy.
actually did eat that, believe it or
You
not.
did?
Yeah, one of those,
Hmm.
which now I'm like, I would never buy my kid
Out of a shopping cart.
Like, this is probably a homeless guy that got him out of goddamn trash.
Like from like a restaurant in the back in like the alleyway.
I never think about it, but like I did eat that, but I was also smoking cigarettes at the time, and so like he
Mhm.
left me because they went to go eat something, and I didn't want to eat, so he left me in the hotel, and we had like just this amazing time. Like this was mine and my brother's thing,
And you were
like,
still 16 or 17?
I was still 16.
Okay.
And I was like, this was so amazing. And the Giants were doing phenomenal. And we were like, we were doing phenomenal.
Such like a good time. Like
Yes.
genuinely good time.
Generally
Yeah.
good time. So we come home.
Says the Bills sweatpants.
Yes, I am a Giants fan, but I wear a lot of those.
That'll do.
So we came home, and it was in January. We had come back from school, and I was in the library, and I was sitting there, and I just didn't feel well. Like something wasn't right, and I did not feel well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, you know what? I'm like doing my homework because I'm type A, like gotta have perfect 100 grades. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna finish. I finished my assignment and I like put it up and I'm like, go to the librarian. I'm like, I don't feel well. And she's like, well, just go down to the nurse. And like, if you think about where the library is,
Yeah.
to where
All
the
the way
nurse's
downstairs. It's out on the other like end of the school.
I mean, it's not a big school, but
So
yeah.
I got my stuff. I put it in my bag and I'm like, I don't feel well. I think they're gonna send me home. So I got my school bag. Which to this day, like in my head, I'm like, how did I like? So I got my school bag. I walk all the way down to the nurse's office. I sit down. It was Kathy, not our normal nurse.
Mm-hmm.
She takes my heart rate, and it was 30 something. And my blood pressure was really awful. She calls my mom at the hospital. My mom's a nurse. She works in ambulatory. And my mom was bringing a patient out. Okay. So she's like, okay, well, why don't you go back to class? And if your mom calls back, because she like left a message to, you know, call me, your daughter's in the nurse's office. Like if she calls me back, I'll like come find you. So why don't you walk back? Heart rate, 30s.
So what is it supposed to be normal for that age, health age?
60
Just for
plus, right?
anybody, it's
Okay.
70 plus.
Okay.
For anybody,
Mm-hmm.
70 plus.
And she's
My
like,
heart
just go
rate's
back to
30.
class. You're
And my
fine.
blood pressure was like. So she tells me, so I go to get up. That. My mom calls back, rushes from the hospital, brings me back. I've had a heart attack.
Did she work at the
Hamilton Hospital.
Okay. Yep.
Rushes me to the hospital. I've had a heart attack. Carried me out of the school. Well, you guys were all coming off lunch, so they were all getting released to lunch. So everybody is walking in, and here's my mom carrying me out of the school.
Holy fuck.
Just having a heart attack
Mm-hmm.
at 16.
And Ben was one of the people to watch me.
Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know who you're
Who
talking
was
about.
supposed to be my best friend since birth. Like literally was there the day I was born. Watches me get carted away. So we get to the hospital. They revive me. They come in, and I worked there as a unit helper. I worked in the ER as a unit helper.
Holy
and
hell.
so I know all these nurses. And Lydia comes in with this yellow bag, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And she's like, it's potassium. She goes, your potassium is 2. You're going to die. I'm going to put this in. And I'm like, no, I need to see the calories. Give me the ingredient list with the calories and the nutrition label. So she
Sure.
did.
It's like after all of that, you're still in your mind. You're like, I need to.
No,
Jesus.
I can't have calories because I'm better if I don't eat. And so she did. She brought it to me, and there was no calories, so I let them put the potassium in me because I died. I literally like just got revived. Like, but here I am. Like, what are the calories? So they revived me. They get me in. They send me to the ICU, and I pull out every single fucking IV. Like I had IVs from here, 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 here. I kept ripping out every IV, every heart monitor I would rip out. I only ate. There was these pieces of toast that were 40 calories, and I would eat one of those a day with that. I can't believe it's not spray butter. Like I'm like, no, I wanted to die. And I would lay there at night. So I couldn't go to the bathroom by myself because my mom was freaking convinced I was making myself throw up. I'm like, Mom, I have no gag reflex. Like, I can't make myself throw up. Can I just go pee by myself? Like, I'm not going to go make myself throw up. Like, I have no gag reflex. But no, so they were watching me. I was so angry. I'd rip everything out. And I would lay every night and, like, just die. I just wanted to die. All I wanted to do was just die. Like, there was nothing I felt I could live for. Like, I just didn't want to live. And I was ready. So my dad and my brother hadn't come to see me. My sister called
So how long were you in there for?
So in the ICU, I was there from Monday to Thursday.
And that period of time, they did not come see you.
Well, no. So it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they didn't come see me. So the first day when I'm there, when I'm like in the emergency room, my sister calls and she's like, "You're such a bitch. Look at what you're doing to the family. You're ruining the family." She's like yelling at me after I just had a fucking heart attack, which good for her because I was being a fucking bitch.
Aw.
Like, I mean, I didn't, like, at
At
this
the
time,
time,
I can say that
yeah,
I was being a bitch,
yeah.
but I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So the first 2 days were like hell. And so my mom said to my dad, "You need to come because she's probably not going to live. Like, you need to literally come now." Like, she's already had one heart attack. She's not eating. She's refusing everything. She's pulling out every IV. She's pulling, like, she's the worst patient in the entire world. Like, you need to come and say goodbye. So my dad and my brother came. And that was, so I went in Monday, Tuesday, so that was Wednesday morning. They came and saw me. And they were crying.
So I would assume when you saw your dad like that, nothing.
I was like, I need to get better.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, I need to get better. No, actually, you know what? It must have been, well, yeah, no, it was Monday, it was Wednesday morning. And because my heart rate wouldn't go above 35, like it was really low. And I'm like, I have to get better. I have to get better. And I'm like, okay, like I'll go home, I'll eat, I'll like, do these things. Well, Bridget and Sarah came to visit me, and it was the first time anybody had, I mean, like Dane had come visit me, and like my old doctor and his wife had come and see me, Brad and Pam, and like Donna and Joe, and like all these people had come see me.
Like, not to interrupt you, did you have any idea that she was sick at this
So
time?
it's weird though, because like right now, like I can't remember like anything, which is like fucked up. But like maybe I was in my own world. Like I don't understand. I can't.
Sarah and Christina said, the other Sarah and Christina said, they saw it happening. They knew it was happening. But you're in your, like as a teenager, in your own whole world, and you don't know what's going on, and you can't comprehend it at that age, like, because your brain's not fully developed, and so you can't comprehend an awful situation like that. It's like
Like if you're not right there in it or witnessing it, like right then, it's probably like you're just poof. Like, I guess I don't know.
Yeah, that's none of my friends. The only person is the one Sarah that I was saying that she's the only one. Like her, Dane, and Evan, who I had been dating at the time. Like unless you were right there with me, and we didn't talk because I isolated from everybody except for Sarah and Dane. Like I isolated from everybody. So no, you guys, you didn't. And like Christina and Sarah were saying when I was in North Carolina that they're like, we knew it was happening, but we didn't know what to say. And like Serena was like, I saw it happening. It was like a slow car crash.
It's like you could kind of see things changing and stuff happening, or you being somewhere and then not being there.
Yeah.
But you didn't really know what was going on.
And you weren't
And you didn't know how
cheerleading
bad
at
it
the
was.
time. So you weren't on the
Right.
cheerleading squad. So the
Mhm.
cheerleaders knew what was going
Yeah.
on. They knew there was definitely some stuff.
Yeah.
Like Jen and Danielle.
Right.
They knew. But it was like a slow car accident where you wanted to reach out and
Mhm.
stop it, but there was nothing you could do
Right.
to stop it. It just had to play its course.
Mhm.
You just had to watch it go through.
Yeah.
And so no, you guys didn't. And I didn't talk to you at that time.
Right.
I really didn't. It wasn't until I was looking at the Almeida pictures
Mhm.
and there's all of I have all these pictures that I took of you and Danielle, but there's none of me and you and Danielle. There's
Yeah,
none
that's
of
so
us.
weird. Yeah. Right.
Because we weren't a unit then.
Right.
Because I had none of you, I had put you all so far out because if you knew what was going on, you were going to say something.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's
You probably
it.
felt if too many people knew, that's your control's gone.
Yeah.
You had to keep your circle small.
And that's why I had Sarah. And
Yeah.
because she knew what was going on, but she was so supportive, and not that she supported the eating disorder,
Mhm.
she supported me and she fought for me.
Yeah.
She would try little ways to get me to be better. And I think because of her and my dad and my brother, I'm alive, because
Yeah.
the things that they would do were not in an intrusive way.
You need to
That
do
I felt
this. And
comfortable with them, and
Right.
I had them there.
Mhm.
And it was when Sarah and Bridget came in to see me in the hospital. So my heart rate had been in the 30s, and they're like, "We can't let you out." And this was Wednesday, and they're like, we cannot. You are going to be here until we can get your heart rate. And they came in, and Bridget and Sarah started making me laugh, and my heart rate went just boop, 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 boop,
Mm.
and it never went back down. And so then the next day, my dad came in and he brought me his babo bread, and I ate it. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I want to go home. I don't. And they're like, my doctor was in there. All the doctors, they were like, you need to go to a hospital. I'm like, I don't want to go. I will just eat. I'll be better. And they're like, no, you need to go to this hospital. So went home Friday. Got to be home for that day, and I literally just ate all the bread I could. I'm like, I'm
Aw.
better. See, I'm okay.
Trying to prove that you will be
I
okay.
was better.
Yeah.
And then they brought me to the mental hospital
And where was
In
this
Syracuse.
close? Okay.
in Syracuse.
Mhm.
And you walk in, and it's this really nice hotel foyer, right? But then you go behind the closed doors, and I was stripped naked and searched.
Mhm.
Had to go. So the first night there, I get put in a room with this girl, and I wake up at midnight, and she's got the pillow over my head trying to kill me.
Oh my.
Holy
gosh.
fuck.
Okay, because mind you, this is a mental hospital. This is not specialized in eating disorders. This is
Right.
for suicidal teens and drug addicts. So that was the first night. So they moved me out of her room the next day. Mind you, we became the best friends. She gave me a promise ring, and
Oh
I
my
lost it. And oh my god, it was the worst thing when I lost it. I can see her face and I know her name. She
You
was
became good
amazing.
friends with her?
Yes. She had a lot of mental issues. I was there for almost a month. We became best friends, and she was the sweetest thing. So then they put me in the next room with this
Put a pillow over your
little-
face. Sorry, but
You put
forgiveness is everything.
Power of forgiveness.
Power of forgiveness.
Yeah. Holy shit.
I'm very good at forgiving
Wow.
people.
That's
try to
amazing.
kill me, Alfred.
Jeez.
It's okay.
Wow.
Wow. It's
So
amazing.
then I did not forgive my next roommate because
Oh,
my
no.
next roommate freaking stole my pants, and she was this squirrely little freak.
Stole your pants.
She
And you
stole
didn't
my
forgive her for
favorite
that.
jeans.
Oh. Okay.
You didn't forgive her, though.
That
You-
makes
you can-
sense.
you can kill me.
Okay.
You try to kill me, but you
Little
steal my
son.
pants.
Those are her favorite.
Were they your Giants pants?
No, it was just jeans. No, but
Are you okay?
yes, I'm okay.
Do you need a drink?
I choked on my own spit.
Yeah.
No, but she was squirrely. Where my first roommate wasn't squirrely, she just.
Wanted to murder you.
Yep.
That's all.
I guess there's a lot more to the story, but that's a
Okay, yeah.
story to tell. So they moved me out of that room because that girl was like crazy, and they put me in with this room with this girl named Tabitha, who I absolutely loved. Tabitha had been there for 2 months. She was in and out of foster homes.
Aw.
Like, had this horrible story. So I was in there for 2 nights with her, and we just became like so close. Like, I absolutely adored her. Well, they told her she had to go home, back to the foster home, and so, mind you, this mental hospital, so no shoelaces,
Mm-hmm.
no like anything.
Yeah.
She broke the light in the hallway and slit her wrist in the middle of the hallway. Yeah, did not die. She was fine, but
God.
she had to go somewhere else. So after that, I had no roommates.
Wow.
I was like, okay, this is fun.
I mean, already, so you're 16
Yeah.
still?
Mm-hmm.
All the shit that you have been through up to 16, like, holy shit.
Yeah, and so in this hospital, they did not know how to deal with eating disorders. So they brought me. They thought it would be a good idea, and it was. Now, as an adult,
Mm-hmm.
they brought me to meet this 50-year-old who had been dealing with anorexia since she was 13, and her whole face was concaved. Her eyes were like bugging out, and she was so sick. She had no life. Her liver was failing. All of her like body parts were failing, and so I became friends with her. And so I get like 2 hours a day with her and like listen to her story and things, and like somehow I ended up helping her. But then we'd have to like be in the team group, and there was people climbing the freaking ceilings, and like it was like,
What the
so I'm not kidding you. It was the craziest experience, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah.
But my favorite memory was I one day got flowers, this big, beautiful 3 dozen roses, and it was Blaze who had all of you guys put money in to send me flowers, and Miss Bodmer and Miss O'Mara brought them to me, and I got to see my teachers and our cheerleading coach, and they brought it, and it was amazing. So we got 2 phone calls a night, and it would always be my dad and my brother, and then my auntie and Uncle Jeff. And if it wasn't Auntie and Uncle Jeff, it would be Sarah. So I would like flip-flop between Auntie and Uncle Jeff and Sarah, but it was always my brother and my dad. And then they would come and visit, like my parents would come and visit, and I'll never forget, it was towards the end that my sister came, even though we weren't talking, and I was so pissed at her, but my nephew was out in the parking lot. I remember him just waving to me because I was 16, he was 6. We were 10 years apart, and he couldn't come in, and I remember seeing him like, I just need to get out, but the thing that was happening was the Giants were in the playoffs.
Oh,
It
boy.
sounds so stupid, but the Giants were in the playoffs, and I got on the phone one Sunday, and my brother's like, the Giants are going to the Super Bowl. So I remember going the next day to the doctor, and I said, I have to go home by the Super Bowl.
Giants are playing?
He's like, you need to be at a certain body weight. I'm like, I have to be home by the Super Bowl. I don't care what you say, but I have to be home by the Super Bowl. Now, mind you, this doctor was a fucking quack, and I hated him the whole time. So I'm like, I'm going home. I'm like, if I have to eat everybody's meals, I'm going home by the Super Bowl because I'm going to see the Giants play.
So how long until then?
That was 2 weeks.
Okay.
And so they're like, you're never making it.
They
So-
said that?
Yeah. they're like, "You're never
Wow.
making it to the
Not like,
Super
hey,
Bowl."
we'll help you. It's like, you're not going to do it.
No,
Wow,
I'm
that's
like, no.
shitty.
Maybe it's a
Well,
good thing.
Guess what?
Hmm.
You tell me I can't do something.
There you go.
My whole entire life, you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to prove you wrong. So I got to go home the Friday before the Super Bowl.
Aw.
You guys were cheerleading in a game, and I just wanted to go. And I remember my mom came and picked me up that morning, and we drove home, and I was weak. And I didn't gain all the weight back. Like, I hadn't made my weight, but they're just like, okay, this
We'll try it.
chick is so fucking annoying. Like,
Let's get her out of here.
she's gotta go because all she keeps talking about is this stupid football game. Like, she's done. So we came, and my mom's like, this isn't a good idea. I'm like, no, I'm going. And I remember walking in, and I got a standing ovation, and all of you guys were like cheering me on and everything. And I got to sit there and watch the basketball game, and it was phenomenal. And then I got to watch the Giants in the Super Bowl. They lost. So we got in the Super Bowl, they lost. It didn't freaking matter because like Dave was there, Evan was there, Sarah was there, my uncle came, my brother. I got to watch the Super Bowl with my brother. And don't worry, because years later I got to be at both Super Bowls we won with my brother, like not at the Super Bowl, but like watching the Super Bowl with my brother. And it was just the most amazing experience. So I couldn't go back to school though, because I could barely walk.
Yeah.
Like I had no energy, and so
So how much did you weigh at this time?
Well, I went from 150 to 90 when I had my heart attack, and at that point when I was released, I was like 100.
Okay, so
I was like 110, and then it went. I kind of went back down, not intentionally, because I never went back to the eating disorder. Believe it or not, like everybody has a rebound, but I had it in my head that I had to get better because I was never seeing my dad and my brother cry.
yeah.
So I had a little bit of a dip, but I was like 100 to 105 at that point, and they were like, "You."
I'm sorry.
The cameras can't even see her. The cameras can't see her.
She's thirsty or something. You need to just stretch.
Oh, here we go. Now the cameras get to see the Hanes. This is the sponsor, the Hanes and Maxi Pack.
She's growing up.
Yeah,
Okay.
She
Don't
became
judge
a
her.
woman.
yeah.
We're just.
She's a woman now.
She's like, you know, you guys can
She's like,
fuck
leave
right now.
me alone. I love her so much.
She's a pretty good dog.
That's so funny.
She's like, I'm just gonna stay over here in my underwear.
She tries to sneak away like really slow, like a sloth. And then we're like, get back here, and she's like, shit. I'll get back.
They finally made my butt show up on the podcast.
Poor baby.
No, and so I wanted to go. So I had to go back half days, but I was still, mind you, I was being tutored, and
Wait, so you're going to school half days?
I originally had to stay home, so I was being
Okay.
tutored in the mental hospital, and I had to teach them chemistry.
They did. You were being tutored, but you had to
But I
teach
had
them.
to teach them my
how to-
homework. So I still ended up like ending that like year with like a 99.
Of course you did.
something average. Even though I was like not in school for like months, but I had to do
Yeah.
half days. But our basketball team was doing phenomenal,
Mhm.
and I'm like, because Monica fucked up the year before at her party, and I didn't get to go to the freaking sectional game. So I'm like, I have to be back to cheerleading in school if we make it to March Madness. Like,
Yeah.
I have to be there.
Mhm.
So it's like February, I'm like, I'm gonna like,
I
so I
got
would go
this.
half days, and I would get so like drained that my dad would have to come pick me up, drop me off, go back to work, and then I'd have to do the rest of my schoolwork from home. So I slowly started building up my strength, but I got to go to Glens Falls.
Glens
It got
Falls.
freaking taken away from us. But I never like looked back. I won't say it was like easy. Like, because I still had so much, like, I couldn't go to Connecticut anymore because Rosario had become a vegetable, and he was put in a home, because that's where his family was from, was right, he grew up with my mom's family, like, they were friends growing up, and so he was right down the road from my aunts and uncles and my grandmother.
How did your family feel and treat him after all of that happened?
They never talked to him.
Okay, yeah.
And he, like I said, he was a vegetable.
Yeah.
And so, or he is a vegetable. And so I couldn't go to Connecticut. So I never went back to my grandmother's house in the summer. Since I was 13, I didn't do any of that. And I had so much anxiety. And, like, life just kind of went on, but I just didn't see my family. Like, they would come and stay with us, but I didn't go down there anymore, and that was like completely different. And then I got into so it was just after the eating disorder, so I had met a guy like at 15 when I was heavier set, and somehow he came and visited me when I was 17.
How did you meet him?
I met him at Camp Oscochi.
Okay, mind you, Camp O is awesome, and I
It's the
want
most
everyone to go there.
Amazing place in the entire world. Like
It
my
really is.
memories there.
She talks about it all.
I do
all
talk
the
about
time.
it a lot, and
I had the video. I'm turning into a DVD. I'll get you a copy.
are you serious?
It's our year.
You need.
Oh my gosh, we could
Oh my
like put
God.
I
clips
get
of
for
it.
Christina too. Yeah,
Oh my gosh, do it please.
it's our year.
And Christina needs to come here. We all need to sit and watch it together.
I'll make a good video edit of it and like do a short for people to see.
Oh
Camp
my
Oscochi.
gosh, I cannot believe that.
It was the most amazing place.
It is. And I've talked about it. I want all of our kids to go.
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting obviously older now and stuff like that, but I'm
I
like,
tell my son
just
all the
go.
time. He loves summer camp. He goes and stays at summer camp, Camp Lookout. He
oh,
loves.
I went there
so-
once. I did.
Yeah, Fennel loves it.
But
I'm
nothing's like Camp O, I'm sorry,
No,
but-
there's nothing like it.
Oh my gosh.
There's nothing like it.
That like gave me chills. I cannot believe you still have that.
I still do.
Oh my gosh. The
And
music
that-
to it and like
yes.
oh my gosh, I love it.
And I don't have a VHS to watch it, so I have to turn it into a DVD.
Yes.
But I'm
Oh my
gonna
gosh.
like have them do it a digital thing.
Yes.
So that
Oh, that's crazy.
Jeez.
it was the most magical place.
Yeah.
So you met this
That's
guy.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. I met this guy there,
hmm
and he just one day showed back up,
hmm
like right after I was sick, and
So he contacted you?
Yeah.
Okay.
and he showed back up in Hamilton. He's like, "Oh my God, you're so skinny," and like you look so great. And so we started dating. And I was like, "Great, like okay, we're starting dating." And he lived down like in Red Hook, like
Red
down,
Hook? I
yeah,
don't even know
like
where
near
that
the
is.
city. Like
Oh,
it's
okay.
like New Paltz. Have you ever heard of?
Yeah.
So he's like down
Far away,
there.
okay.
And so he like came up, and he's like a year older than I think a year or two older. I don't know. And so we started dating, and Sarah graduates from college, and that was like we got a huge fight her graduation day just
Oh,
because she
no.
was leaving me. Like, oh my God.
Well, you have a thing, people leaving you probably.
Yes.
So you're like, you're gonna do this too, okay?
Yeah, but she was going to London.
Oh.
Shit.
So she was leaving for London.
Okay.
So I started dating this guy, and
Oh,
September 10th, 2001,
Mm-hmm.
spent the night at Sarah's house because the next morning Sarah was flying out of Syracuse to New York City to London. So September 10th of 2001, I'm at her house and we're there and wake up the next morning and she went downstairs, she woke up and then she comes and wakes me up and says, there was a plane crash, so we have to fly to New York City, or we have to drive to New York City because they aren't flying any flights into New York City, but the flights are going out of New York City. So she's like, we have to drive to New York City. So I call my mom and I say, we're driving to New York City right now because there was a plane crash and we have to get Sarah to that flight so she can go to London. So I come downstairs, it's like just about to be 9 o'clock and like we're getting ready and we watch another plane crash into the Trade Center. And the phone rings and it's my mom. You're not going anywhere in New York City. So
Wow, okay.
she didn't fly away for like, she didn't leave for like another month.
Yeah.
And so she went to London and like, life goes on, right? Like I'm trying to build. So me and Mike get closer. We start dating and she comes home finally. Like it was so exciting. I was waiting there for like 3 hours before her parents like got there because her parents were my parents. And like so excited to see her and like we had the best time and then she goes back down to New Paltz. So I go to visit her there and Mike comes and everything and I show up in overalls and I wasn't feeling well because mind you, I'm still trying to fucking recover from having a heart attack and having an eating disorder. And he, like little things he would say to me on the phone, like it didn't like register, but then he's like, you know, if you just did some crunches, you would like tone up a little bit. You would look a little bit better. And like maybe like if you like ask the doctor about a boob job, like you could like, because I had double D's and
Mhm,
now like
mhm.
I had nothing. And like if
Wow.
you just like maybe a lift or something, but if you just did some crunches,
What that would make
so
someone
little
feel.
things.
Wow.
Then he came and he like stayed overnight at Sarah's house during the time when she had come home before she went to New Paltz. And like we slept in her brother's room and then she slept in her room and like I woke up and he was in her bed. Like there was like a lot of weird stuff and he would like say things and he started to like really degrade me and like put me down and it was like getting back into that. And so I finally was like I went down after this whole thing, like when he said that and I had had a UTI and had been really sick and like he said like if I just did crunches and like he introduced me as just his poor friend from up in upstate New
Wow.
York and
Okay.
girlfriend for a while. And like just like horrible. I was like, this is not what I want to be in. Like this is like so it was starting to get back into that like abusive thing. So I was like, no. So I had come back home and it was my 18th it was just before my 18th birthday. And Peter, I don't remember him, but he was like this cute little guy who I was like
I remember the name. I don't remember what he looks like.
absolutely loved him. And I hung out with Laura and we did all this fun stuff. And me and Peter went and applied for this job at the clubhouse. And I remember going in and I applied for the job and like the owners were like so adorable, so sweet, and like I applied for the job. And I was like, I really want this job. What I didn't know was there was a guy behind the bar who saw me and like was like, oh, and like I didn't have any idea. And like
He was like,
did his
"Oh."
thing. So then I went in for my second interview, and there's that same guy who was like washing windows and almost fell off the ladder when he saw me. Like same guy, like didn't like nothing.
He's like washing the windows, but like trying to look at you.
Yeah, so I got the job and I love it. And I remember we went to orientation. Peter never got the job, but I got the job. And I remember we were in orientation and there's this stupid jackass behind me. He was making like smart ass comments. I just remember looking back and like, oh, I know him. He graduated my brother. I'm like, you know, whatever. Didn't pay any attention to him. First day on the job. I get there, I'm like so excited, like this is brand new, like they're opening up the restaurant. Like the restaurant had
So
been
cool.
closed and it was like first day, like brand new. And I go to the bar and Jeff, I don't remember Jeff who we graduated with.
Yeah.
So he was there. And this guy behind the bar who my brother went to school with and like they're watching golf and I'm like, oh my God, who would watch golf on TV? And this guy behind the bar says to me, well, because guys like boobs and sports and boobs and boobs and sports and boobs.
Wow. What a catch.
Yep. 22 years
Brilliant.
later. 22 years later. He's
That's
still
like
there.
stupid shit. Like he said stupid shit when we first started dating. Like the
Yeah.
first thing. So it's like
22 years later. He's
wow. He's still a keeper.
He's still a keeper.
We love you.
But he was 8 years older than me. We would go and smoke our cigarettes and we would sit in the back and I never talked about what happened with Rosario. I didn't tell anyone. And I still to this day, like you'll see I've done a lot of talks about having an eating disorder and that whole thing. But I don't talk about that story ever. Like this is the first time it's ever been out.
I just want to say, I wonder if we should like, whenever you find a good point, and maybe like start the next one because we're already at an hour and 16 minutes.
Holy
So
shit.
I would
Okay.
just have it'd be just 2 episodes. And,
Yeah.
You know, or maybe 3 or 4, however long we talk.
Yeah.
But
Whatever you want.
I'll let you find a good spot where you want to like start like a next saga, which you meeting him is probably a pretty
Yeah,
good
no, that's
Yes,
great. No,
perfect.
Like, this is
Yes.
great because he was the first person that I sat down and actually, I don't even know why. I just told
You
him.
had a connection, a comfortable connection with him, and you felt like you could.
Yeah, and I
talk to
just
him.
told him my story, and it was the first time. Like, I don't even think I ever told Sarah.
Was this before you guys were together?
Oh
or-
yeah, this is way.
Oh,
before.
okay.
This was like 2-3 weeks into the
Jeez.
the boobs and sports.
Wow.
It's
So
like,
you.
it's like a notebook story. It's pretty
yeah,
good.
but it's like you instantly felt a connection with him.
Yes.
that you felt good talking to him.
Yeah, and
That
so,
says something about the type of person he is,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes, he's
Aw.
amazing, and I wish
Yeah.
he was here.
I do
but
too.
Yeah, I do that
Right.
much more.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just told him my story, and so when we ended up dating months later, like, he knew me for me, and it was the first person ever in my entire life except for Sarah
Mhm.
who knew me.
Yeah. And he still felt how he felt about you, regardless of anything.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And that gives you like goosebumps. Mm.
Every day, because he knows.
Because he's
all.
Adam.
He's held my hair when I've thrown up. Like,
Yeah.
he's gone through it all.
Aw.
Wow. That's pretty
That's
awesome.
crazy. Yeah.
But
Hearing your whole story, and then it leading up to you meeting him, and then you knowing this man, like,
was
not
a
knowing him
boy.
from Adam, but like,
He was a boy.
oh, okay,
He was a boy.
meeting this
He made it
boy.
25.
Okay, yeah, meeting this boy in 3 weeks felt like you could talk to him about anything.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane to me.
It's incredible how relatable your story is. Like, so much of what you're saying is like really helping me almost, kind of
I know what you mean.
empathize what
Mhm.
other people that are 16 going
Could
through
be going
absolute
through.
hell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Yep. And
And
maybe
it's just-
feeling alone and wanting control and not knowing how to deal with their
Yeah.
emotions.
And
it's
finding,
just so
because
much.
at 16 you have no control of your emotions.
Yeah.
You have, like, you don't develop that until you're much older.
Yeah.
And when
especially when you go
anything-
through a hard time too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't know how, there's no outlet to be able to, like, when my son gets upset about things, like, I'm
Mhm.
thinking he doesn't have an outlet to, he can't understand it. Like, we can process it as adults because our brains are developed in order to process it.
Right.
But as a kid, I couldn't process what had happened to me.
Mhm.
Because in my head, I was blaming me and I was punishing me because I thought I should die because
Yeah.
I have now caused my family all the trouble.
You should end right there, actually. That's a good ending.
Well, yeah, no, I also want to just add, like, it's really inspiring, like, you going through what you've been through, like, yeah,
Yeah, but so many people go through, I don't want to say similar shit, but similar shit that aren't telling people anything, and they think that they're alone.
Yeah.
So you sharing it, it's like there's going to be so many kids, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, or
That have
14-year-olds,
shit that happens to them.
that they're like, I can't get through it, but if they see someone that can,
Yeah.
like, that's why people need to hear your freaking story, and, it's
Someday,
yeah,
yeah.
no, I know.
I want to be here because I want to tell a story about when you came home.
I know.
Yeah, like, that would be perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually gonna keep recording, but we're gonna separate it up into a couple different episodes. We'll see how long the next one
So-
is, but
Episode 12, Part 1.
yeah.
Moving on to Part 2.